Hey guys, it's Brandon. So I thought I'd do another kibitzing video here today. I'm on ICC. It kind of looks funny because it looks like I'm on ChessCube. I actually found a interface that does ICC called Lantern, which is kind of cool. And one of the piece sets it includes is the ChessCube piece set. So I'm just trying it out. And yeah, so I thought I'd do a kibitz video. You guys seem to enjoy them. They seem to have been pretty popular. And we're on with Yasser Seirawan right now, GM Ohm, as you can see. And this is a 3-minute game, and he's playing somebody named Yoser from Chile. CL means Chile. Off screen you can't see it, but there's a Chilean flag over there. And yeah, there's some other strong players online right now, so maybe we'll do 1 or 2 Yaser games because I did them last week, and maybe we'll hop on with some other people. But okay, what's going on here in this game after that long introduction? Yasser's playing black, and it was some kind of Karo Khan, I think. Let's just scroll up here. Yeah, some kind of C6, and then yeah, some kind of Karo Khan, which was it the knight f6 Karo Khan? Yeah, after knight c3. So White has these 2 bishops that seem to be pointing down on the queen side, so I guess that's where he should be playing. These dark squares on the queen side on the h2 to b8 diagonal could be weak, could be very weak for black. This bishop isn't anywhere near these diagonals, and it's sort of a passive piece right now, sort of blocked in by these pawns. But again, you know, it's sort of a strong-ish pawn center. If Yaser wants some play, he can try maybe to push. But for now, Yaser just stop it. Yaser can't play c5. That was what the point of the b4 move was, I think. So the knight coming in here, and White obviously is not interested in giving up his bishop pair. So the knight coming in here to blockade. Maybe he's thinking about pushing g4 here. Not sure, but that could be an idea to try to target the h pawn. Yeah, maybe putting the queen on to b5 would have been an idea, but now instead Yaser is opening up the queen side sort of voluntarily. Not sure if that's a great idea now that, yeah, now the rooks are coming down on this b file, really putting pressure on this b pawn, and you can see that this bishop, as I mentioned earlier, is beautiful on this diagonal, stopping a rook from landing on the b file. So this is just going to be sort of a permanent weakness for Yaser to deal with. So understandably, he tries to move his kingside pawn, his pawn majority here, maybe play f4 or g4. f4 would have blocked the bishop, but g4 kicking that bishop away, and now c5, trying to just free his pieces up, but letting the b pawn drop. Yeah, and now collecting the d pawn in exchange, but this is their passed a pawn could be dangerous here. So getting his rook behind the pawn. I don't know, these bishops with this pawn, this looks pretty bad for Yaser. This knight and this bishop are a little out of the action, so he tries to get it here to sort of coordinate on the e7 square and slow the pawn's advance down. Oh, offering a pawn trade. Maybe White thinks this knight is just too far out of the game to really help stop the advance of the pawn. And now threatening rook to no, not threatening rook to g8 yet. But rook to g8 could be a threat in the future if this rook ever moves off of the line here. But Yaser coming in with a knight now, and the rook check maybe. Is f5 a threat? f5, king f6, something like that? I don't know. He's trying to get some play on the king, but it looks... I really have no idea what's going on in this game. About equal on time, maybe a 10-second advantage for Yoser or Yoser or whatever. So let's see what happens here. Yaser's trying to come up with something. Knight e4. Yeah, I guess now would be threatening if the problem is if he takes the pawn, then rook h8 check and then queens win immediately. So he can't take the pawn. He has to always be able to recapture the. But why can't he just? I don't understand why he can't just move the rook somewhere and then queen, because the bishop protects the pawn. So is there some threats or something maybe that he was concerned about? I mean, oh, that was harsh. Now pawn takes is forced. Oh, but no, it's not because of the rook, because of its check. Boy, I really don't know. I mean, Yasser now the e4 pawn is rolling. Maybe he can hold this to a draw, but I should think this would be winning for white. But maybe it's possible he can hang on here. It's just the problem for black is that his king can't do anything. His king can't move anywhere. It can't go to any of these, any square. It can't take the pawn. The pawn is cutting him off from g7. It can't hit the back rank. It just can't really move as long as this rook is threatening to just move out of the way with check and then queen. So he's trying to throw some checks here and try to push this pawn down the board. Now sacrificing these pawns, and with 7 seconds on the clock, maybe it's just not enough time. This is probably winning anyway, but I don't know. King g6, push the pawn, probably. So yeah, these pawns look pretty dangerous. I'm not threatening checkmate, and Yaser forfeited on time. Okay, he's going again with somebody named Voodoo Spiral. So yeah, maybe we'll stick on for one more game with Yaser and check out. There's some other strong players online right now, and we'll see what's going on there. So some kind of King's Indian here with Bishop d3 and Knight e2. What Yaser's playing. I don't know this theory at all. And a quick f4, giving up the light square bishop. And now opening the center, possibly getting the d5 square for a piece. Maybe just, yeah, giving the d5 square. And now quick f5, attacking the bishop. Maybe now his plan is to play knight d5 and just get a nice piece in there. Oh, taking this pawn first. Pressure on e4, though. Maybe knight to g3 is forced here to hang on to the e4 pawn after queen takes, because the queen, of course, is hanging. I guess he could play queen f4, maybe, if he wants to hang on to the queens. This seems like an attacking position where you would want to hang on to the queens. But I guess really the only way to do that is to play queen f4 because the e-pawn is hanging. So he just decides to give the queen up. And now maybe we'll see knight g3, or okay, he decides to defend the pawn this way by pinning the knight to the rook. So I guess he'll have to trade here. So giving up that bishop, and now another game where Yaser's opponent is getting the bishop pair, but Yaser has a strong knight here on d5, and now playing this check. Is his plan to take here? He's down a pawn, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, but messing up the black pawn structure, so maybe he's going to have to try to rely on the rook coming down to the 7th rank now. And a pawn hanging, but then also f pawn hanging. Hard to say for sure what's going on here. I think black is probably slightly better, but he does have these pawn weaknesses here. So it's not too clear. Well, I guess now you have to sort of take on f7. And he'll still be down a pawn, right? Yeah, he'll still be down a pawn, but these are some weak pawns over here. But on the other hand, the c4 pawn and the e4 pawn are isolated and weak as well. So yeah, he's going to have to come up with something. Yeah, now this check coming in. He can grab on c5, probably. So get his pawn back. Maybe. Not entirely sure. Okay, he decides to go after this pawn instead. Maybe that was a better idea. Now he can actually take here, but then this pawn is falling. So he's getting into another rook endgame, which, I don't know, doesn't look like it offers much in the way of winning chances, but actually now he's managed to get himself up a pawn. So maybe he does have winning chances in this position. Unfortunately, this is another one of those positions where black's rook is much more active and black's king is very, very passive. He can't really move too far away from these pawns until he pushes them forward. It's just going to be, the king is just cut off by the pawns. He could actually maybe try to escape over h4, h2 into g3. That's one possibility. But again, he has to be careful when the rook comes to a1, pawn to a2. The rook, if the rook can suddenly move away with check, then he'll be able to queen. Slight time advantage for Yaser at the moment, coming up on 25 seconds. So okay, offering an exchange of prisoners here, and this position, wow, this position must be winning for for Yaser now. It's just two connected pass pawns versus a king and rook. So I'm not my knowledge of king and rook endgames is not the best, but I would think this is a win for white if he can manage to get himself out of it. Yeah, just move the king up, move the pawn up now, and just keep pushing that pawn on h6. So yeah, that's why the rook comes down to try to prevent it. Maybe it's a draw. I don't know. If he takes now, takes, is that g-pawn winning? Maybe it is. But now attacking the rook. So maybe this is a draw. I'm not sure. Now black's king is the one that's passive, but can he hang on to this position? I don't know. Just offering to trade the pawns, but would he have been able to maintain opposition if he had traded those pawns? I'm not sure. Okay, what about pushing? Yeah, maybe this is just a draw. He doesn't seem to be attempting to make any progress. Takes, king here, and then I guess there's opposition. I don't know. Well, the pawn moves forward, so I mean, maybe Yasser's just making these moves because. Okay, now what about g7 now? No, because then rook a6 check. Man, I wish I had some kind of. Oh, they've agreed that it's a draw. This game is drawn by mutual agreement. So I guess this really was a draw. I was wondering. The problem looks like if he pushes the g6 pawn, then the rook starts to check from the a file, and there's no way to really get out of those checks. In fact, the rook check immediately would just lose. Would take this rook, and then that would be game over. So I guess they just agreed to draw. Okay, so we got a couple Yaser games in. So let's see who else is playing. No, I won't watch. Yeah, all right. Let's do one more Yaser game. We have time. So we got another Caro-Kann, this time with knight c3 and queen f3. So I don't know anything about this. People are playing some weird stuff versus him. So offering an exchange of bishops with the idea of fixing the pawns. Okay, you can force a queen trade here if he wants it, but he doesn't seem to want it. So just pushing in the center, controlling the d4 square, you'll probably see knight c6. And this looks like a pretty even position out of the opening. Maybe even slightly better for black. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, this was clearly not any theory, but black seems perfectly fine here, so I don't think white can be totally happy about this position. So, Bacon Buddy, 2233 from Great Britain is Yasser's opponent. So, queens came off, and yeah, I mean, Yaser must be better in this position. He's got a better position in the center, and he's got some more space. And white's knight is nicely kept out of those central squares. You can see the black pawns are keeping it out of d4, g5, e5, any squares like that. So he's going to have to take some time to find something for this knight to do, like knight d2 to e4 or something. So yeah, you see he comes with that now. So Yaser just preemptively moves the bishop out of the way so that knight e4 wouldn't come with an attack on the bishop. Also maintaining coverage of the d6 square. So okay, Yaser sinks his knight here in on d4, and it's quickly chased away to e6. Maybe it has dreams maybe of coming to f4 with an attack on this very weak d pawn, which is now made even weaker, is now a backwards pawn on an open file. So c4, I mean, he had to open up the bishop, I guess, but it looks like a positional weakness to me. You know, moves like rook d1, knight e4, knight f4, excuse me, look like that could seriously target this pawn. And so yeah, now you see rook d8 attacking the pawn. How is he even defending it like that? But now knight f4. Yep, just like I said. Even I can even predict some Grand Master plans once in a while when I get lucky. So how to protect the pawn? I think maybe it's just going down here. There's no way to defend it. So white's going to have to look pretty quickly for some counterplay here. And he's down almost 45 seconds on the clock. Oh, there is a way to protect it, but now this fork. Yeah. So, guess he missed that. Yeah, which one to take? Which rook? The rooks are still forked, so he decides not to take either of them, instead taking advantage of this pin here. So I would think he would want to take this rook, but I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, but now taking and pushing? No, I guess he can't push. It's not an option yet. But okay, Yasser's going to have to find a way. Oh, this guy's requesting a takeback from Yaser. I can see in the console, which is cut off by the video because I just wanted to, for you guys just to see the board and stuff. But he requested a takeback from Yaser, which Yaser has declined. Oh no, he has given it to him, I guess. I don't really know what happened there. But okay, let's get back into this game here. So Yaz is just up in exchange, and he's got this strong pawn on b3, and this pawn on d6. More takebacks here coming now. I don't even know what's going on in this game. He requested more takebacks. Honestly, I have no idea. Just totally lost the thread here, but okay, maybe he can pile up on this pawn now with rook to a7, and now just gets the king in to protect this pawn. So he does have some coordination on this pawn, so maybe it's going to be tough to do anything here. But just sacrificing a pawn on the king side. Yeah, well, I guess it's not a sacrifice, but Yaser does have this 3-2 majority on the king side. Walking into a pin on that pawn. I'm not sure about that, but maybe it's okay. Alright, so he collects this pawn here on b3. What's the time situation? Yaser's up about 30 seconds. Yes, but now the king runs over here and collects this pawn. And these two pawns here on the king side should run forward and win the game for black, I think. Yeah, the c pawn's going to fall, but I don't think white really has a chance of hanging on to this game. So yeah, at this rate, he's going to even be able to sacrifice his rook. Just sack the rook for the pawn, unless the bishop gets on that diagonal right now. Yeah. But yeah, he can even I think he can even just sack the rook for the pawn. Maybe not. He's going to have to use the king. Yeah, okay. He's going to use the king, and now the bishop is going to have to move. If this pawn queens, he'll just take it with the rook. The bishop moves, and then... Or if the bishop takes, then he just takes the bishop. Queens, rook queening, and then that game's over. So, okay. That was some fun Yaser games. Let's take a look at someone else is online. I think Conrad Holt is playing. Let's see. Yeah, actually he's playing Alejandro Ramirez right now. So two super strong young Grand Masters from America playing. And this is a 5-minute game. And they're both very high rated on the 5-minute pool. 2676 for Conrad Holt and 2667 for Alejandro Ramirez. So we're joining this game midway through. Maybe we'll stay on for another one of Conrad Holt's after this, if he decides to keep playing. So what's going on here? Conrad has pushed his kingside pawns in some kind of attempt at a kingside attack. The bishop's under attack here. He has to move it maybe back to c2, so that oh, he decides to go to d3. Interesting. Can black win a pawn here with taking on d4? And now pawn takes. Oh, that was his idea, not to retake, but just to push. So sacking this pawn, and okay, the knight coming into b4. I don't know, I wouldn't want to give up that light square bishop. Maybe consider putting it on b1. But no, he just decides to chase the knight and give up that bishop. But okay, Still got some chances to push this this kingside pawns against the black king. F5, F6 might be an idea, or F5, G6 might be an idea to try to get some play. But in the meantime, he does need to worry about his E4 pawn, which is pinned to the king, which is very exposed, and unable to move forward and attack twice. So, I don't know, I think maybe black should probably be better in this position. He's also up a little bit on time. And, yeah, he's probably just a little bit better. You know, he can just sort of maybe try to play in the center, F5, maybe something striking in the center, and white's king is much more open. I'm not sure there's time for this kingside pawn stuff. Wow, moving the king further up the board. I'm not sure what the idea of this is, but it could be dangerous. Okay, sticking a rook on the open file and hanging on to his extra pawn. It is an extra pawn after all, right? 6 to 5, yep. No, he must have sacrificed a pawn earlier, so it's 6 to 6. So offering the queen trade, interesting, and giving himself some very ugly-looking pawns. Isolated pawn, double isolated pawn. So I wonder what the idea of that queen trade was. Was it really that dangerous with queens on the board? His king seemed okay. Black's king was the one now running up the board and is closer to the center. So he has to sort of untangle his pieces a little bit. Black's pieces are a little more active. Black's rooks are more active. This rook on A2 is passive. Wow. Taking and then D2. Not an option. He's got enough coverage on it. The rook and the bishop would cover. So just trying to trade off Black's active pieces here. And maybe he can round this pawn up. Yeah, I think life is going to be a little difficult for Black now after the queen trade. It's hard to say. So, and now actually falling behind on time. 49 seconds to a minute. Okay, so he decides instead of exchanging to play rook c7, so that when rook takes, pawn takes, he can at least straighten out these pawns, and also he has the idea to double. Could be a strong idea, and if white does take, he may have the idea of pushing down the pawn now. That could be a strong move, though. Oh, just trying to penetrate further into the camp. So now, if Black ever takes, he'll have two connected pass pawns, which would be very, very strong. So I don't think, I mean, if white ever takes, so I don't think we'll see white take here. And then, but then on the other hand, we're probably going to see a double here. I'm expecting to see rook c8, but maybe not. He's thinking down to 20 seconds. He's going to have to make a decision soon. Decides instead to play f6. Just getting out of back rank mate possibilities, maybe? But giving himself more pawn weaknesses. So it's sort of an active pieces versus pawn weaknesses at the moment. White obviously has the better structure, but Black is a little bit... White's pieces are a little more passive. But on the other hand, we're just going to be coming down to a time race at this point. So it's going to be about who's got the faster mouse right now. And right now it's Alejandro Ramirez. So both of these guys are very strong young GMs. But yeah, I mean, this 5 seconds to... Now it looks like... Geez, what's going on here? It's just a king and pawn, but now of course, white is much... Black is better with an extra pawn, but it's just coming down to time, you know. So, yeah, Conrad Holt just going down there to Little Peasant. He actually beat him earlier in the day, too, so... And Conrad's not easy to beat. He was at 2,700 earlier today, and until Alejandro got rid of him. And who knows what was going on there at the end. I mean, they were just flying around the board trying to come up with something. So hopefully one of these two guys will go into another game. Seems like Conrad has left. So, you know, there's not too many... There's actually nobody on my notify list is playing at the moment. So yeah, we'll give Alejandro Ramirez a minute or two here, just see if he goes into another game. And if not, we'll call it a video. So, yeah. Not sure what else to say about this game. I mean, obviously it was an interesting game, but in the end it just came down to a time scramble. So, who really knows what was going on there? In the final position, it looks like... Yeah, it looks like I have no idea what's going on in the final position. Maybe it's a draw. I mean, 2 pawns versus 2 pawns, but this one's a little further up the board. Maybe the F pawn starts to run. I have no idea. Kingsmead. That's David Howell, I think. Let's see if he plays a game. He usually seems to play bullet chess. Oh no, he's actually just going over a game. Knightich versus Anand. So, alright. I guess we will call this a video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And we'll see you next time.